Shalom Yasharala. This is your brother Dawud Daw from GMS Temple Base 07, coming at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions. All right, as a follow-up to the series of lessons that I'm doing dealing with, the curses falling upon Esau. All right, we just did a lesson on their suicide rate. They committing suicide, and basically they was going into the economics of, or basically touching on that Esau couldn't take the economic pressure, businesses or companies going overseas, them having to compete with China, losing wages, losing jobs and things like that. They can't handle the financial burden, so they started to commit suicide in large droves. All right. It says, this may be responsible for the high suicide rate among white American men. All right. Now, this article here is going to be going into a lot of the other reasons why they're committing suicide. All right. And like I said, the last article was pretty much just touching on the financial deal, and really that problem was being caused more or less by them. They're the ones that own these companies. They're the ones creating all these laws. They just fucking themselves and can't take the responsibility for what they did, You didn't douse your whole house in gasoline and set it on fire. Now your house is burned to a ground and you want to cry about it. Like, bro, but you did that. You know what I'm saying? So getting on to this here article, it says today, being white and a male are the two single greatest risk factors for suicide in the U.S. Really, being a white male that's the worst thing on the planet Earth to be. Is a white male. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? You an Edomite, bro. You an Edomite. Hey, you gonna be destroyed on this side on in if you're not an elite, and then your ass gonna wake back up and your ass going into captivity for 1,000 years. Then you're gonna be exterminated. All right. It says, that's according to the authors. Or let me see. It says, today, being white and male are the two single greatest risk factors for suicide in the U.S. That's according to the authors of Explaining Suicide Patterns, Motivations, and what Notes reveals. Psychology professor Cheryl Mayer is among them. She says, hegemonic masculinity. All right. Now, we're about to start touching on something different here. All right. This hegemonic masculinity. I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you so you understand what the hell they really trying to say. The so-called white man is realizing that he is he's fallen from his heaven. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? You see what I'm saying? He is realizing that he's fallen. All right. So this is what they're talking about when they say hegemonic masculinity. All right. It says, she says hegemonic masculinity is what's killing these men. They're trying to live up to a social stereotype no one could measure up to, being the damn devil. All right. Really, the spirit was put on you to be the damn devil. But now you starting to see and like who you are and so on and so forth. You're walking around with your pride. You're like, we don't give a fuck about y'all people. If y'all don't do what we say, we're going to just blow your country up. You see what we did to Japan. You know what I'm saying? But then when people call your ass out about it, you can't handle that. Like, yeah, motherfucker, you are the devil. When people was pointing their fingers at you, you can't take that, You can't take trying to be the damn man and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, why don't you go ahead and just blow these people off the face of the earth with your nuclear bombs like you always do. You know what I'm saying? And they can't put up with that, And they can't put up with the stress of actually trying to be the damn devil as far as dominating over every damn body else and not liking being in the target of everybody. All right. Because now everybody's starting to say, are thou as weak as us? How art thou brought down to the ground? Everybody else is saying that, challenging his so-called word and his authority. All right. It ain't like that he had spiritual power like he did back in the past, that no matter what happened, he was going to come out on top. Now his so-called hedge is being lowered down, and hey, he can't deal with that. All right. It says they're trying to live up to a social stereotype that no one could measure up to. Not only that, their model doesn't even square with today's world. All right. You can't go around the planet Earth being a damn devil and expect not to catch no judgment. You can't go around the world being a bully to everybody and expect to sleep at night with peace. Not have to look over your damn shoulder and shit, In 2015, two Princeton economists found that the death rates among white middle-aged men, rather than falling like with other most groups, were instead rising. All right. Now, again, they're talking about the men. All right. These so-called a lot of these women, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, just with women in general. All right. Women are going to cleave to power. All right. They're starting to see that these damn so-called white people white men can't take the pressure. They can't take none of this stuff, you know. They willing to leave a goddamn rich ass Edomite man, you know what I'm saying, who's stressing and bugging the fuck out and losing his wits and beating on his wife because, you know what I'm saying, he only made 35 million last year when he, you know, is used to making 35 million. He ain't made no more than 35 million, you know. They willing to leave his ass to go be with Jake, you know what I'm saying, who you know what I'm saying, make less than 35,000 a year. You see what I'm saying? Because he just know how to handle himself a lot better. He know how to make shit work, you know. It says and also it just said that the death rate amongst these whites is actually rising instead of falling. All right, with the so-called advancement in health and technology, vaccines, and all these things that these so-called Edomites like to tell you, well, we live in the future now, and people are living longer. We got way better everything than we had in the past, so people live longer. Well, I mean, y'all the so-called first-class citizens. Why are y'all dying off way more than everybody else? We get way like second, third, fourth, fifth-handed treatments and everything, you know, jobs, foods, where we live at, education, all these things, but yet we thriving. And you falling off with your first-class education, first-class jobs, first-class incomes, first-class food, medical care, all that. And you still dying off, all right? It says the mortality rate for working-class white men between age 45 and 54 have steadily been rising since 99. According to the suicide prevention experts, Dr. Christine Mortier, white middle-aged men account for 70% of deaths from suicide each year. All right. So 70% of these damn Edomites is the number that makes, like, you know, the whole number. All right. You got 100 people commit suicide a year, right? 70 of those people is Edomites. All right. The only 30 of those, the other 30 people are, you know, a mix of different people, you know, whether they be Negro, Latino, Native American, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, or so-called Asian or whatever, whatnot. And my guess would be that, you know, the other group would more or less be like the so-called Native Americans, you know, or, you know, I don't even really know how they make that up, but we know that we are stronger people than them. But yet, you know, we know about how what Esau did to these people. They didn't broke the spirit of these people so far down that, you know, that's one of the things that they do. You know, and it's not necessarily their suicide isn't like they didn't went and shot themselves in the face. They have a different type of suicide. They'll just drink themselves till they, you know, eventually ruin their liver or whatever, whatnot, that type of deal, you know? They're not like these Edomites who go over here and pop so many pills and drink so much alcohol till they just die, you know, instantly, you know? It says 9/10 of them were from lower socio-economic classes. The suicide rate among white middle-aged men without college degrees have been increasing, a worrisome trend. These are being called deaths by despair. All right. Now we get into death by despair. Now let's look at Jake, man. We grew up in the hoods, looking around at our, you know, the hallway smelling like piss and whatever, whatnot, and nothing never working. Our father's not in the house. Our mamas is crackheads and prostitutes and whores and sluts doing all kind of crazy shit. You know, whatever you could think of that Jake had to go through in their neighborhoods and shit like that, just growing up, you know. And then when they get older and in the real world, you know, first fired, last hired, you know, child support, you know, all kind of different shit, dealing with the white man, all these different things. Yet we don't commit suicide, but the white man can't even take just a little bit, one of these types of things, you know. They having so-called death by despair. They depressed about shit, so they just killing themselves. It says Harvard public policy professor Dr. Putnam told the BBC this is part of a larger emerging pattern of evidence of the links between poverty, hopelessness, and health. All right. But wait a minute. You know, look at Jake. You talking about poverty? Like, white man ain't in no poverty, man. What kind of shit is that? Like, you can have a home. We see this like every damn Saturday we go out to camp, man. You can have a homeless Edomite and a homeless Jake, right? The homeless Edomite can lay down wherever he is in the middle of the street if he want to, on the sidewalk, and nobody gonna say nothing to him. People gonna walk by, give him some food, give him this, give him that. But Jake, you know what I'm saying? Get a job, walk away. You can't be here. You can't sleep here. Whatever, whatnot. All right. So even when Esau's homeless, man, people still give him a little bit of something. You see what I'm saying? Talking about poverty, and you know what I'm saying? You know, hey, it's sad when you know who live in what neighborhood just by looking at the conditions of the neighborhoods, all right? By the sizes of the houses and shit like that. It don't even have to be a so-called junky, so-called hood with, you know, like when you ride through the hood, you see all kind of crazy shit off in the hood and shit like that. But, I mean, you could just have like regular, nice, upkept yards or whatever, whatnot. But you could just tell by the size of the house, all right, the type of cars in the driveway, who live in this neighborhood and who don't live in the neighborhood, all right? And that's anywhere in America, all right? And it's been like that for the longest amount of time here in America since we got over here, all right? So let's talk about poverty. Jake don't know nothing about, we couldn't tell you what the fuck poverty is because that's our whole fucking life, all right? So that's normal to us. You know what I'm saying? We always trying to make it. That's our strive in life, more or less, to say. We always trying to make it to a better place so our kids don't have to go through what we had to go through, you know? Esau's like, yeah, we want our kids to go through what we went through, you know? My forefather passed down to me a Fortune 500 company and 40 acres and a house and so on and so forth. Hell yeah, I want to give this shit to my son, you know? But Jake be like, nah, I don't want to have my son have to struggle and sell drugs and do the shit that I had to do to get on. Just a little something. I'm going to try to make a little better for him to pass it down, but always end up with nothing. All right? So we the real people in poverty, man. We the ones living paycheck to paychecks and Amscots. You don't see no Amscots and payday advance and check cashing places and shit like that in Edomite neighborhoods. They're only in Jake neighborhoods, all right? Another thing, you see predominantly all the banks around residential neighborhoods where Edomites live. They're not really in the hoods where Jake lived. Not because they scared Jake gonna rob the bank. They know the majority of Jake don't have no bank accounts. Why? They don't ever be holding money long enough to actually have it in the bank. As soon as they go get their paycheck, they got to go pay bills and pay money back. All right. So speaking of poverty, again, Jake has no idea what the fuck the word poverty means. They can't define the word. Jake, like, that's not even in their vocabulary. Poverty, what the fuck is that? You speaking some kind of alien language. Even if you try to describe to me that I'm living in poverty because I'm poor and I got this and that, like, nah, nigga, this just how we Jakes. Not that we choosing this, but this is just how it is. My mama grew up like this, so on and so forth. My goal is to get up out of this. But we ain't poor, we ain't impoverished. You know what I'm saying? Most Jake grew up poor and in the hood and shit like that, but it was always a turnoff to be called so-called poor growing up. Look, when I was a little kid growing up, you know what I'm saying? Over in I was living on the south side of Atlanta, East Point, on Vesta Road in a duplex, right? Man, I remember before school and shit like that, waiting on the bus as a little kid, we didn't have no AC, no heat in the house. It'd be cold as shit. You know, it's snow in Atlanta, right? We would get up in the morning, get ready for school. Man, we would have our oven open and stand in front of the damn oven to heat us up, you know? And sometimes we would go out back, you know what I'm saying, and light a fire, like a bonfire, to stay warm outside in the damn snow because it's a lot warmer around the fire than inside the house is packed with snow, all right? And you know what I'm saying? But us growing up as Jake, we didn't know we was poor until we got older. All right. When we got older and we started looking back like, why was y'all doing this and that? Or you see certain things, you might be in a scenario and you doing this and doing that. Like as a kid, you think, man, ramen noodles is my favorite. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Nah, you eating that shit because that's a meal that could fill you up for like 10 cents. All right. That's the reason you eating that shit. You know what I'm saying? But you don't realize that till you get older and you looking back, sometimes you might be in those scenarios. All right. Not saying that none of that is, you should be doing that. That's something to brag and boast about. Like, yeah, bro, that's like some dumb shit to do. You don't want to be having, you know, the oven just open in your house is pouring out all that. Nah, you don't want that. But hey, we didn't know no difference. You see what I'm saying? Like at the same time, somebody would have called me poor back in the day. We would be like, nah, nigga, we not poor. The fuck is you talking about? We straight. You know what I'm saying? We all right. We ain't rich or nothing like that, but you know, we not poor. All right. So again, Jake don't know about poverty. We just make it do what we got to do. All right. But it says, dealing with this, it says, this is part of a larger emergent pattern of evidence between poverty, hopelessness, and health. All right, now let's talk about health. All right, black people, so-called black people, you see them high diabetes, high blood pressure. They all overweight. The majority of all these illnesses affect the so-called black man, you know, or the so-called Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Not the so-called Israelites, the children of Israel, way more predominantly than Esau. All right, we are affected, especially the so-called black man. You know, we are affected by asthma way more than everybody else. Obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and things like that. You know, way more than any other nation and stuff like that. All right, we the ones that's growing up like that. You have your kid be like 10 years old and obese, 7 years old and obese. All right, got high blood pressure at 5 years old. You see what I'm saying? And the foods that they eating fruit roll-ups and ramen noodles and raviolis and hot Cheetos and shit like that. Man, they're not eating no nutritional meal. All right. And then when they go to school or the daycares or whatever, that's sometimes that's the only fucking meal that they got. You know what I'm saying? Man, hey, man, I'm telling you, man, Jake will send their kids to school because they ain't got no food in the fucking house, man. That's like a plus for them to be able to send their kid to school. At least they gonna feed them at school. And hey, son, Hey, man, it's some depressing ass shit, man. But you don't realize this shit till you get older, when your mama gonna tell you, like, look, man, if you can at school, or your mama send a note, hey, if possible, let my kid get 2 lunches today. Or let my kid eat 2 lunches. They got to go talk to the people so you can get 2 lunches because you don't eat at home. You only eating at school. My kid need to eat breakfast and 2 different lunches. If possible, you know what I'm saying, give him one of the little sack lunches as well, too, you know? Hey, that's some real old school. I don't even know if they do that shit no more because I heard that you can't have, like, sack lunches, like, well, anyway. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that's some crazy shit. But I'm saying that to say this. Jake's not growing up as the healthiest people in the world, man. We grow up drinking Kool-Aid and shit like that. So by the time, like I said, by the time we 5 years old, we already unhealthy than a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? All we've been doing, you know, we can't breathe from the asthma. We overweight and shit. You know what I'm saying? Now all we eating is raviolis, fruit roll-ups, and ramen noodles, and sucking down Kool-Aid and shit like that. You know, we ain't healthy. You see what I'm saying? But we not killing ourselves because, you know, our little 5-year-old little boy got bigger titties than the stripper down to the strip club. You see what I'm saying? Our little girl is bigger than Bruce the comedian. You see what I'm saying? We not committing suicide over no shit like that. We be like, well, and they gonna love me for my bigness or whatever. I mean, they should be doing some exercise to get healthier, but hey, they learn how to deal with it. You see what I'm saying? And going back up here, it says hopelessness. All right. Now, I wanted to take my time on this one. Hopelessness. Where the fuck was Jake's hope in anything? Where was our hope when we was in slavery? The fuck was we hoping for when we was getting beat by those whips and shit like that? When you was separating our families and shit like that? When you was genociding the Native American Indians? All right? When you was hitting them with the Gatling guns, giving them smallpox? When you was slowly taking all their land and putting them on reservations? Where's their hope still to this day? They still have to look outside their damn reservation windows and see that they all... Damn, like literally you done broke into a motherfucking house and then locked his ass in a small ass closet and you rule the rest of the house, and he can look through the damn peephole and see his whole house being, you know, revamped and shit, you know? Like, yo, man, but where's the so-called Native American Indians' hope for all that, all right? Where's the so-called Puerto Ricans' hope, the so-called Taino Indians' hope, where you done genocided them down to what, 500? You brought them all the way down to a population of 500. But what happened? They started back fucking, all right? Now their population is back up, all right? You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, where was I hoping in the Ku Klux Klan deal? All right, where was our hope at when we see all these things happening, like the laws being passed against us, our jobs being taken away from us, our neighborhoods going downhill, drugs, crack, and heroin coming into our neighborhoods and shit like that, all right? Where was our hope when the husbands was getting kicked out the house and the kids was being raised up like that, all right? Where was the hope when you had these things going on like the so-called Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, all right? Where was our hope at when you see all these different things going on at, right? You know what I'm saying? What do we have to hope for in any of these things? Now, the hope that we have in this truth is, the faith that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to deliver us, all right? That's the real hope, dealing in the truth. But I'm speaking as a whole, in a carnal sense for all of Israel. We're not talking about the men of the Lord and the truth. We're talking about all of Israel, all right? So where was Israel's hope in any of these things? We was hopeless as a motherfucker, and way bigger things. You in heaven, in your kingdom, and you talking about you hopeless. You know what I'm saying? But really, like the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, his desire is hell, and he's not satisfied, more or less to say, roughly paraphrasing, like, yo, you greedy than the motherfucker, bro. You know what I'm saying? You just can't, you never gonna be satisfied. You just keep going. All right? You empty. You never gonna feel that void, bro. But nevertheless, continuing on, it says, veterans are often one of the largest segments within the group, according to the 2014 Veterans Affairs VA report. 20 commit suicide each day. 65% of them are age 50 or older. Yeah, so these are the so-called smart ones, all right? These are the ones that's realizing they the damn devil been going around the world just rape, robbing, and murdering all these countries. You didn't have no real conflicts with these people. You just went over there, raped these women, raped some of the men, all right, robbed them of all their resources, and just murdered everybody else on off, all right? They have to deal with that. They can't sleep at night because the Most High is plaguing them in their minds, and they see what's coming, all right? If they have any kind of wisdom, they see the trends and everything, all right? They see these things, so they start committing suicide. They know they have blood on their hand, all right? They can remember when they close their eyes. They remember the proud, smug smile on their face that they had when they had the M16 to, Abdullah's or whatever Vietnamese guy's head while they was over there raping their little 10-year-old daughter and shit in front of the whole family and shit, and then just blowing everybody's heads off, and they was laughing and giggling about that shit, you know? They remember all that shit, like, damn, I got this shit coming to me. As they looking at their little daughter's eyes, and they seeing everybody, all these other countries screaming death to America and building up their militaries, all right? It says, a larger segment of the group chosen the slow suicide route. Many are succumbing to things like alcohol, liver disease, or drug overdose. So what's causing this? White men without a college degree have seen their employment prospects dwindle in the last few decades, mostly due to mechanization. All right, now this is kind of touching on what we went through in the other article, but they talk about the mechanization, basically the machines and the robots and stuff like that. All right, but again, look at compare and contrast Esau with Jake when these same things go on. All right, when you have these companies and stuff like that, even if you have the machines come in, you're gonna get rid of Jake first. All right, they gonna get rid of Jake first, then the so-called Edomites. Jake you don't see no articles like this about Jake. Jake committing suicide because they ain't got no job, they unemployed. All right, Jake hear this shit from they woman all the time. You sorry motherfucker, need to get a job. They hear that shit from his own woman all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? And knowing he can't get no job everywhere he go in, they got a now hiring sign in the window. Now hiring right now, immediately, open position right now. They walk in, hey, can I get an application? No, we're not hiring. Jake got to deal with that all damn day long, and what? They not committing suicide. You see what I'm saying? And it says, and their mental health has withered as a result. All right. Yes. Again, they not strong enough. They you know, one nation gonna be stronger than the other nation. They mentally not strong enough for this. All right. Their mental health has withered as a result. In terms of economic globalization and income equality have worsened the problem as well. Though most economists agree mechanization is the biggest cause. All right, now who decided to come out with all these damn robots like he doing with the Mark of the Beast and these cyborgs and shit now that he got coming out, and a smart world, a smart grid, smart cities, all this shit. All right, and also globalization, one world order. That you saying that this is the cause, like the effect of all these suicides is caused by all your new world order planning and automating every damn thing. All right. But yet you still pushing for this. But yet you the ones depressed because you the ones seeing yourself being sold the fuck out. All right. It says, however, let me go back. It says in terms of, let me read this whole thing. Their mental health has withered as a result. In terms of economics, globalization and income equality have worsened the problem as well. Though most economists agree mechanization is the biggest cause. However, middle-aged black and Hispanic men at the same education level, or I would say lower, because a lot of us have to drop out of school to either take care of families or we drop out for gangs or selling drugs or whatever, whatnot. All right. However, middle-aged black and Hispanic men at the same education level have also been impacted by these same economic forces. Now, I'm going to have to correct him on that. We are not affected by the same economic forces. It's not possible for us to be affected by the same economic forces as the so-called white man. We don't have as much as this nigga got. All right. So if a so-called black man house burned down and a so-called white man house burned down, you would look at it at face value where they both lost their house. No, 90% of the time, Jake is renting the place where he live at. All right. That ain't really his property that's burned the fuck down. All he got to go do is find another place to rent the fuck out. All right. Or his apartment the fuck burned down. When a white man burned down, that's his house that he had been paying a mortgage off of and so on and so forth. It's a little different. All right. When the stock market crashed, Jake ain't got no money in there because we don't got no fucking extra money to invest. All right. We got a little bit of extra money. We trying to buy something to flip. We doing like stocks. We just trying to buy a little something to flip. Man, I got a little extra $20. Let me see if I can go buy, hypothetically a lawnmower. Maybe I can cut grass on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Jake ain't got no money to throw in the stock market. So we not under the same economic shit as him. When the economy's tank, nigga, we not really affected by that because we don't have the shit that would be affected by that because we so poor. We too fucking poor to be affected by some shit like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like, hey, all business owners gotta pay a 50% increase in taxes. Jake ain't gonna be upset about that because the majority of Jake don't own these big ass corporations. Again, is what I'm saying. This is Edomite shit, all right? Or if all corporations gotta, take a big ass hit, like, oh yeah, none of Jake own none of that shit. So we, it's all good. Just like saying all these yacht owners is affected by this. Yeah, well, when yacht sales go down, everybody's affected. Well, not Jake, because we ain't buying yachts. Hell, we ain't even renting yachts. Hell, we not even paying to go on a yacht. We ain't got that kind of money. All right, so we're not affected by the same shit. But more or less what they saying is, they're trying to make the statement that we going through the same thing, but however, we're not affected by it, which is true. But how I'm explaining it is way deeper than that, man. we not on the same level as you. We far beneath you. All right. So we should be doing this shit before a recession, just because look at where the fuck we living at. But I mean, if you want to talk about a recession, we've already was way worse than that. I mean, you could throw this on top. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you trying to weigh down a goddamn pickup truck and you didn't overload it till it's already on the ground. Like, well, you can throw whatever else you want on here. Now it's already on the ground. It ain't going to get no lower than this. It's not really going to affect it no more than this. All right. So, you know, it says, however, middle-aged black and Hispanic men at the same education level or lower have also been impacted by these same, actually worse economic forces, yet the suicide rate among these groups haven't risen. All right, we're stronger people. We know how to deal with these types of things, all right? We have faith that something better gonna come. Even if we 95 years old and ain't nothing ever good happened to us, we always been downtrodden, we still praying. Well, one day, hell, if I die tomorrow, I know I'm gonna die tomorrow. Well, at least when I die, I might go to heaven and see the Lord. I'm just pray for that, you know? It might be better in heaven, you know? That type of shit, you know? Based on economic woes, some experts point to the highlighted divorce rate among men in this age range. Whether married or single, women tend to open up to their friends and family about their troubles and build a strong network of support, whereas men generally don't. If they open up at all, it is usually to a partner. But for divorce or single, there's no such outlets. All right, yeah, these men, first of all, they've been divorced because what? Women are seeing them, they weak as fuck. They can't handle the stress of none of these things happening. Like, it ain't even nothing really serious happening. You can't handle that, let alone he losing his money and his power and his status. So-called white woman don't want to be with him. All right. And, it says, hegemonic masculinity, according to Mayer, is the idea that one's machismo must be broadcast constantly, no matter what he's dealing with or how he feels inside. All right, more or less what they saying is that his pride. All right, he got to be the hardcore devil. He always got to be hardcore. I'm the man. I'm the shit. I'm macho. That type of shit. No, I'm a fucking Edomite. I can do whatever I want. Shit, watch me do it. You know, that type of shit. But the pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Caucasian, you come from the Caucasus Mountain, dwelling in the clefts of the rock, all right? The pride of your heart has deceived thee. Your hegemonic masculinity or your pride has deceived you, all right? It says no matter what he's dealing with or how he feels inside, or he has to broadcast his pride all the time, no matter how he's, you know, dealing with it or how he feels inside. It's stoicism taken to the nth degree. Several studies have found that that hegemonic masculinity is detrimental to men's well-being and health outcomes, including Sabo Gordon 95. Nevertheless, like the scriptures say, you know, pride go before a fall, you know, more or less to say, roughly paraphrasing, you know, you being super proud about a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, you ain't gonna be able to deal with the truth, man. Yeah, man, I know I can make this shot blindfold or whatever, whatnot, and you got the whole world watching you. You over here bragging and boasting how good you are. You make the shot, or you take the shot and you miss it. Hey, man, you ain't gonna be able to deal with that, the laughter and the scorn and all that scoffing, you know, because you was so bigging yourself up, man. But now you had to face the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? With I'm the king of the world and so on and so forth. And you got these little ass countries coming up against your ass, your women, you know, leaving your ass, your economic treaties and things like that falling apart. You losing everywhere. All right. Psychotherapist Daphne Rose is the author of this book because the way boys are socialized, their ability to deal with emotions have been systematically undermined. Men are taught point by point not to feel, not to cry, not to find words to express themselves. Everyone needs to be vulnerable sometimes and to have someone to confide in and gain support from, yet men are taught to feel ashamed or even guilty for doing so. All right, now, you read this at face value, you be like, you basically trying to create a bunch of weak ass men, more or less to say. But no, not really. I mean, they kind of hit it on the head. Everybody is vulnerable sometime and needs someone to confide in and gain support from. Yeah, you need somebody to cry on their shoulder and all this and that and be soft with and this and that. All right. But Esau ain't got nobody like that. All right. And who you supposed to have like that first and foremost? All right. First and foremost, the Most High. That's why you get down on your knees and you cry out unto him. You let him know your problems and everything like that. All right. When you can't get through certain things and you got tough times, you bow down on your knees and you basically become like a woman unto the Most High. Complain to your husbandman. You see what I'm saying? You supposed to be crying to the Lord and he going to take care of you. All right. But Esau, he ain't got no faith. You know what I'm saying? He want to turn his back on the Most High. No, I can do it on my own. I'm just this and that. All right. Now what? You know what I'm saying? You didn't so-called severed your ties with the Most High. And now you ain't got nobody to break down and cry to, more or less, to say, or get certain things off your chest. You got to keep living your lie, telling yourself everything is all right when it's not. All right. The customary outlook on masculinity has been shaken to its core by realities of today's labor market. Men are traditionally seen as providers, but today many women earn more than the men in their lives. American women, for the first time, are more likely to earn a college degree than men. So like I said, hey man, more women are going to college and graduating from college. More women are getting more of these so-called corporate jobs with the stuff like that, where they sit at the desk and stuff like that. Now they actually making more money. All right. And these so-called white men can't handle that, because that's their so-called power, to be able to stunt with money and power and shit like that. All right. It says a feminization of the labor market has begun, as well as offering more positions where traditional female-oriented skills are valued. All right. Speaking on this feminism. All right. Caucasian men have enjoyed white hegemony in the U.S. That's changing as the browning of America takes shape. Whites will become a minority projected to take place by 2045. All right. So like I was going into with this whole, that's why I'm doing this as a series of news articles. They all going into the same thing. It's basically Esau's going down and the Israelites are coming up. All right. It says browning of America takes shape. Whites will become a minority projected to take place by 2045. Although this may usher in more social equality, the loss of a given at birth superiority will chafe a certain segment of the Caucasian community. Yeah, these damn Edomites being born thinking that they just white, they superior because they just white, But as they start to see, as time go on, if time was to go on like how they saying it's going to go on, they would see from a natural occurrence that, damn, now everybody around us is so-called of color. The so-called black man and Hispanic and Native American men are all around us. They're in all the White Houses. Just like Jake was growing up. When you was a baby Jake growing up, man, the image of all the people in power was Edomites. Jesus, who you bowed down and prayed to on Sunday and all that extra shit, was a white man. When you was sick and had to go to the doctor, he was a white man. When you have your authority to the police, to the government, they all white men. You need to go get educated because you dumb and you got to go to the smart man. Who you go to your teacher, who is he? A white man. You go to the bank to go get a loan, the white man. You go get your car fixed, whatever you're going to go do, you going to the white man. All right. So when Jake see that image, those images, every time I go somewhere, I need to go to you to get it because you in a position to give it to me. All right. You the one in power. All right. But in vice versa, as we read in here, if it was to be the flip side and the so-called white man was to see, so-called, just the children of Israel on top all the damn time, he ain't gonna be able to deal with that, all right? He got to be able to see himself up top, all right? It says, besides the changing status of white men with no college degrees, there's a problem with how we view masculinity in general. It stands in the way of those who are in trouble getting the help they need. In fact, it isn't really healthy for men or society as a whole either. In most cases, men are suffering from an eroded sense of self and identity. Yeah, these Edomites, the pride of their heart has deceived them. These Edomite men think they're God. They don't realize they're a base man. They don't realize that they're the bottom of the barrel. Like, bruh, you the only person on the planet Earth needs sunblock because the sun is killing your ass, man. You lack like calcium and vitamin C and all that extra shit because you just death. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody really like you. You can't handle that, so you have to lie to yourself. That's why you have to paint up pictures of yourself everywhere, paint yourself as God and his son, and you have to steal everybody's history and say it's your history and everybody else was just dumbass savages and you created the whole damn world. You got to lie to yourself just to make yourself feel good. All right. It says, they're trying to fit into a role that is no longer supported by the real world. First and foremost, why? Because the men of the Lord are out there exposing the truth to Esau, like the scripture saying, Obadiah, how are the things that Esau sought out. All right. And he was going to take the same book, the Most High, I believe, is a verse after that verse, where it says that he was going to destroy the wisdom take the wisdom from basically the Edomites. All right. They're trying to fit the role that no longer is supported by the real world. One way to overcome this is to update our definition of masculinity for the 21st century. Another would be to build a more gender neutral society where everyone is looked upon on an individual basis despite their gender. All right. And really what that's going to do is what Esau's already pushing. All right. He'd be like, well, if Esau not man enough to be a man around here, we got to get rid of all the other genders because I ain't man enough to be a man. All right, well, shit, y'all the ones that's declining by which our birth rates and shit. We still fucking. You know what I'm saying? We predominantly is fucking the right way. Fucking men is fucking women. You know what I'm saying? So we reproducing. You not reproducing. So, I mean, hey, you go ahead and get rid of the genders if you want to. It's just speeding up your eradication. All right? It says, regardless of the path we take, men and society as a whole must become less rigid regarding its outlook on masculinity, and somehow adopt a more pluralistic view. Yeah. So more or less to say, hey, the so-called Edomite has to change, not to say change his ways. He has to change his whole definition of himself, his characteristics, his spirit, all the things about him. He got to change because he don't fit into this world. And the world itself, the planet Earth, everything, the spirit, everything is slowly just eradicating him. The planet Earth is destroying all the things he done created. You know what I'm saying? The animals and stuff is starting to migrate and move out of the ways from him because, you know what I'm saying, the shit that he doing. The earth is not yielding the right fruits and the vegetables the way it's supposed to because Esau done defiled it all the way through. All the people in the minds of the people, the nations are mad because they was drunk off the wine of the fornication of basically the great whore. These people is all mad and everything that you're doing, you know? So, you know, all these different things coming together, man. Hey, man. It's just showing you the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, man. These Edomites is dropping like flies, man, off all different types of things. Really, because they weak as hell, can't face the reality of what's going on. They ain't even actually caught judgment yet. Yahweh Shah ain't even came back yet. And they just trying to cope with what the hell they got to cope with, and they can't do it. All right? They commit suicide left and right. All right? Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Until next time, I say, Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth. Stay strong. Shalom.